We are live. Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born a Lot, and we are here with the first episode in our speaker series in preparation for this amazing event, 3-day event coming up. 100 years of the Whirlwind celebration, 100 years of the coronation of 100 years ago, coming up August 14th through the 16th. So we are going to welcome our first guest in the series, a warrior who is at the stronghold for Pan-African African liberation from a place called Sierra Leone, a stronghold for the diaspora and for the continent, a place where many of our ancestors dwell to find liberation. We're here and we're going to hear from our first guest in the series, our chief. We got Chief Foday Ajamu Mansaray in the building with us to share some of his story, some of his history with the family, and we're going to do it like this. Make sure if you are interested in getting tickets to this event, it's going to be amazing. It's going to sell out. Let me get everything together for you real quick and get that information. They got an early bird special right now, and I believe it's to the 13th. Let me get that information for you real quick. Just give me 1 second here. 1 second. 1 second. So like I said, it's going down virtual 2020 centennial coronation ceremony of the black and the green Pan-African flag given to us by our warrior ancestor, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And this is being put together by our brother Alois Kujichaya and United Front's own Bomani Mayasa. So we're going to be facilitating a 3-day virtual Pan-African experience with these warrior minds that are assembled, countless speakers, a lot of things going on. Definitely want to be in the building for that. And we're going to be showcasing the speakers that will be involved in this event. So between this platform, Do the Knowledge Radio, and the 100 year of the Whirlwind page on IG, we're going to be facilitating some speakers, some guests, people who are going to be presenting, and people who are involved in this coalition for the minds and hearts and the proper restoration of the African mind and oriented in a proper fashion of insurrection. So you definitely want to be, here for that event. Just give me 1 second. I'm looking for the flyer and I will give you the information. And I will also put the information up so you can see it. So just bear with me for a second as I get this together real quick. So as I stated, Chief is tuning in from Sierra Leone, and we're both having some technical difficulties, nearly getting on together. So we're just looking and waiting for him to rejoin at the moment. So just give us a second. Give us a second. All right, so you got the IG. Shout out to Alias in the building, making it easy. Make sure you follow this Instagram page. This is where all of the updates are coming to. Right there, IG 100 years in the whirlwind. Make sure you go over there. Website, real quick, where people can get the tickets from for the early bird. The $25, I believe. So take advantage of the early bird special, and I believe they up the ante. So if you get the ticket and spend a couple of more dollars, you get the digital copy of that new Vanguard EP, Cipher for Manhood Papers in the field. Okay, so you get this positive reinforcement in regards to reapproaching your African center and the insurrection music to feed your mind, body, and spirit and put you in the proper space for you to move in a manner that is befitting uh, African insurrection. So they got the music for your African insurrection and this 3 day celebration, this 3 day festival, this 3 day gathering of some of the greatest African minds of our time here will be happening. So you definitely need to get your tickets. And I see, the family are coming in here. Let me get this together. Let me get it together. So shout out to Ray Austin. Shout out to Levon Brown. I hope I said that right. If I said it wrong, I apologize. Got Ali was one of the facilitators for this auspicious occasion. B48, Tumi, and Mama Joe in the building. Okay. Out there in Florida. B48 to you, sis. All right. So yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's welcome to the platform the Pan African Mind, Chief Foday Ajamu, excuse me, Mansaray. B48, B Toomey, Black Power. What's going on, Chief? How you feeling?
Yeah, peace, brother. How you doing, man? I'm feeling real good, man. Thank you very much for having me on the platform. Very excited. Right now I'm having technical difficulties with the network here in Freetown. It's the rain season, so I might not be able to go on camera, but I can give you my voice. How you doing, brother?
That's good. That's good. Your voice is strong enough, Black Power. I'm good. I am good. Okay, so can you take a moment to kind of introduce yourself to the family who may not be familiar with you, Chief?
Man, I don't know what's going on with this.
All right, so you can visit. My chief trying to get together. You can visit www.dtc1.org. Get these early bird tickets. See Momani UFG in the building. Peace to the Vanguard. BB Foday BB Toomey. Let me put this up real quick. I go to this website. Okay. Matter of fact, since we got a second, let me go to the website real quick and pull it up. www.dtc1.org. Just show what's going on. So give a second for this website to come up. And I see what's going on right here. This is the web. So like I said earlier, and I restated, I put it up there. $30 gets you the early bird tickets plus the pre-order of Harriet Shotgun by the Vanguard. So we're gonna be doing an exclusive, listening party. You get a chance to get this uh, pre-order, so you get it as soon as it drops. So you won't be hearing it for the first time at this exclusive listening party. This is Sappho joint. So we got 100 years in the Whirlwind, the official 2020 Black August Virtual International Conference, August 14th to the 16th, 2020. Okay, save the date. It's our flag's anniversary. It's a once in a lifetime historic 3-day event. We will celebrate, commemorate, educate, and unify Africans all over the globe under the banner of resistance. Of the world's most sincere, world-renowned African-centered scholars, United Front providing the revolutionary soundtrack throughout the conference, over 30 master-level course lectures with tons of educational resources. Africanly, excuse me, I got to get this right. This says Africanly, awesome virtual vendors. For more information, let me type that so y'all can see that as well. More information. You can email. Put this email in here so y'all don't be asking me because I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. Okay? And put this email right here. 100 years in the whirlwind at Gmail. All right? So y'all ask these small organized information. All right? So let's put this up there. Boom. So this Pan-African ideology is being put at work. We got some of the greatest minds, greatest African minds of our time converging on this location from all over the globe. living and walking in 100 years of a visionary who saw us returning to our African mind and African space and African place and converging and gathering together in commemoration of what a people is. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said you can judge a nation by its flag. And we know that our flag flies high. Okay? We are the flag. So if we're looking at a standard bearer, one who would hold the flag, one who would uphold the flag, one who would march into battle as a flag bearer, it is every single African mind that is assembled, every single African mind that fights for sovereignty, every single African mind who is looking to insurrect from a mentally dead state, emotionally dead state, a psychologically dead state, and begin to move forward with this objective in mind of total African sovereignty in the decimation of our enemies, foreign, domestic, internal, and external. So we look at this, a legacy of resistance, rebellion, and revolt. We paint these pictures of our ancestors as if they did not rebel, as if they did not form and have a great relationship with resistance. We see this, we see this throughout our history and throughout our time. This is us. This is us. So as you look at this imagery, you see what's going on. It should be ever imprinted in your psyche. This is a time for the African family to come to be reminded of who we are and where we come from so we can know where we're going. So just take a look. This be a reminder. This is a reminder of who we are. This is who we are. So this is a beautiful display of our legacy in the diaspora and our legacy from the mother continent. Kujichagulia Inc. and United Front AIM would like to personally extend an invitation to you and your family to be a part of the 100 Years in the Whirlwind. This is a once-in-a-lifetime historic 3-day event which will celebrate, commemorate, educate, and unify Africans all over the globe under the banner of resistance, resistance, resistance. We are excited that some of the most brilliantly beautiful Africans here in the United States, Canada, from the West Indies, in Europe, and from Africa will be a part of this collective work of learning, sharing, and cultivating an authentic expression of Black August so we can appropriately identify the shoulders beneath our feet. We guarantee 100 Years in the Whirlwind will educate, motivate, and inspire each of us to be our best selves as we move forward to create a reality where African children have the opportunity to grow and actualize their truest African potential. Additionally, 100 Years in the Whirlwind will affirm and confirm a positive African identity, promote deep learning from an African center with the Sankofian vision, bolster Advente Garde pathways to intergenerational wealth, wisdom, and power, and challenge alien invaded social, political, economic belief systems. If you are clear or searching for an event to observe and honor that is distinctly African and will move us toward a powerful future, prosperity, and re-Africanization, this is the event for you. Save the date. It's our flag's anniversary. Oh, I love this. I love this. Y'all see the black dragon here. Love has never turned aside the boot, blood, or bullet. Neither has it satisfied my hunger of body or mind. The author of my hunger, the architect of the circumstantial pressures, which are the sole cause of my ills, will find no peace in this existence or the next, or the one following. That never, never, I'll dog his trail to infinity. I hope I will never feel I've loved for the thing that causes insufferable pain. What I do feel is the urge to resist, and never stop resisting, or even think of stopping my resistance until victory falls to me. The Soledad Brothers, The Prison Letters of George Jackson, George Lester Jackson, pages 126 and 127. Again, so for more info, 100 Years in the Whirlwind at gmail.com. Y'all see that on the screen. So direct your questions, your comments, your opportunities to spotlight, your opportunities to vend, all of that. My brother Alu is over 30 Asafos and Gino ready to put in that work. Sister Tiffany, peace to you, Queen. What's going on with you, sis? Yeah, so this is where we are. And if you are in a position of oppression and tyranny, if you are held captive by your captors, the thing that unifies the captors is that moment in time to destroy your captors and to escape. To destroy your captors and escape. With resistance, this is resistance. I was in the military and we went to SEALs training. And that survival, escape, resist, evade. And during this training, they teach you to survive, how to escape, how to resist, how to evade. And if you're caught, how to survive captivity. They're masters as captors across the world. So they know how to make a captive. These effective tools and how to make the captive feel that the only place that they have in existence is with the captors that they deserve. Allow the Stockholm syndrome to set, and it doesn't take long. It only takes a couple of days. You will forget who you are. You will forget where you are. You will forget that it's a training simulation. A couple of days. Try 400 years. Try 500 years. After a couple of days in captivity, you will find the captive unifying on escape, but unifying on the acceptance of treatment by their captors. A couple of days. That's it. A couple of days. The majority will go along to get along. There's a few. Let me go back up so you can see an example of a few. This is a few. I like that show. This is a few who resist and continue to resist, who gave their lives in the service of our resistance here. I need you to see them. I need you to be reminded that of the sisters in your family, your elders, your ancestors, your family dynamic. This is you. This is us. From the mother continent all throughout the diaspora, all over the globe. The spirit of insurrection is in you. The spirit of insurrection is in you. We must continue to resist until victory falls in our favor, as we just read from our brother and warrior ancestor, the Isafo, George Lester Jackson. This is a modality of resistance, and I'm just here kind of painting the picture, as we awake. I know that Chief is striving his best to rejoin, and the goal of this, a psychological resurgence of insurrection, is sorely needed with the atrocities that befall us here in the diaspora and all over the planet Earth, wherever you find us. To our African women, to our African children, and to our African men. The desecration of the memories associated with our African ancestors assault in the bombardment of the misrepresentation of Africa. So our ancestors put it on the hearts of our two warriors to put this together, to sound the horn, sound the alarm, and the overwhelming response of these Africans all over the planet that it was time. Knew that it was time. I love this. Alias, man, you might as well just come on, man. Just come on the link, you know what I'm saying, and talk with the family until, our brother Chief gets on. You know what I'm saying? You might as well just come on in here. I'll shoot you the link. Let me put that up there. From one of the greatest books ever scribed, In Blood. As a slave, the social phenomenon that engages my whole consciousness, of course, revolution. The slave and revolution. I think we forget this. I think we forget for reasons about this traumatic experience, this interruption of African development called the Great Maafa. This great disaster, localized and minimalized by a term that does not ascribe to us: slave or slavery, bond service. The social phenomenon that engages my whole consciousness. is, of course, revolution. Search the deep recesses of your mind and ponder on this focal point as the oppressed Africans. This is where our whole consciousness, our focal point, our center, our efforts, our works should be centered around, revolving. It says the slave in revolution. The focal point, looking at where your attention lies, what your priorities are, where your attention lies, what your priorities are, where your attention lies. The slave. And the priority of the slave in revolution. Looking to get free. So I just want you to see our elders, our ancestors, a legacy of resistance. We have a legacy of resistance here in the diaspora, just as we have a legacy and resistance on the mother continent. Rebellion and revolt. A legacy of wherever we found ourselves in a state of tyranny and oppression, we resisted. We rebelled and revolted. They want to paint our rebellion through improper propaganda here in the Americas and in the diaspora as if it didn't happen. Or it happened with European influence and European resistance. Look at the tear at the psyche that it causes. Look at the tear at the psyche that it causes. We find ourselves in this position being capitalized off of, being bought and sold, being capital, being property, and us fighting. And then we find that in the narrative that is painted about our resistance, about our rebellion, and about our revolt, being controlled, influenced, financed, and moved by the very same people who have been responsible for putting us in this condition, the very same beast that's responsible for putting us in this position. Look at the fracture of the psyche that it causes. So let me bring to the microphone as we still await Chief, one of the chief organizers, Alias Kuji Chagalia is in the building.
Brother Knowledge Born. Peace.
All right. Brother Ayuism, Black Power, Foday Ajamu, what's going on?
Habibi Fahodie, Black man. Thanks for having me this evening. Peace, family. How's everything going?
So yeah, just keeping the fire lit while we get ready for Chief. You know what I mean? So in the absence, I didn't want to lose the steam and keep the focal point where it needs to be.
Yes, sir. You know, this thing has a spearhead. You know, it's headed by the Vanguard, so it's gonna move with such momentum that nothing can stymie it. Um, I think that it's beginning to take on a life of its own because we
Right.
are people of motion, a people of movement, because that is what we need. That is what we must have to reascend to our greatest heights. And that's what resistance is. Resistance is, understanding that in our current situation, it's unnatural. And for us to get back to our natural state, we have to fight, we have to sabotage, we have to be engaged in subterfuge, and we have to do everything we can to make sure that we are putting ourselves and our children in the best possible situation to be successful. And when we do that, I think that it shows the greatest honor to our warrior ancestors. And that's what this event is about. This event is, and I think I said it before, it's definitely not about me. It's definitely not about Brother Bomani. It's about the collective work that each of us Africans are engaged in, even you, brother, because we appreciate coming on your platform, being able to articulate our points to the people. So it's collective work that we're going to use to galvanize us um, in a position that we can be a global power again. I think a lot of times we misuse the word power because we haven't handled it as a people in so long. We just haphazardly kind of throw it around and misuse it. But this event is about educating, inspiring, entertaining, but doing all that to get that African spirit, that African soul moving again to an African rhythm so that we can be about the business of doing what we need to do for ourselves, our children, and the yet unborn.
So aside from what we stated, like uh, they playing with everybody today, ain't they?
Yes, sir. But I mean, we shouldn't expect anything different. I mean, if anytime we are using the apparatus to get our message across, we should anticipate, interruptions. We should anticipate them trying to disrupt. But as long as we understand that we're gonna keep this thing tight like a black fist, ain't nothing they can do. I mean, they just like, a gnat to a elephant's behind. His tail is swatted away. He'll keep doing what he do.
Right,
You
right, right. So yeah. what has been the reception, as recently I see numbers have continued to grow and things like that. So, what's been the reception with people that are listening, people that are tuning in, people reaching out for tickets, have more people, sought to, be a part of this commemoration?
Yeah, people honestly, the biggest reception has been from those Africans outside of the community, which is good. That means that, they're a little bit more in tune to what's going on because of, current circumstances, globally. And that has been the biggest surprise, but the biggest pleasure, because those of us, we're not preaching to the choir. We're not, 'cause you know how it is. We always get together, we have this university, we have these events, and usually it's the same 100 people you always see. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the beginning of the advertisement going out, which we started last Monday on the show until today, most of it has been received by those people who wouldn't consider themselves to be, African centered or conscious, even woke. So it's been a great reception for that. I know the conscious community is going to respond well to it because it's what they do. Um, a lot of questions come in the inbox. What is this for? What is this about? People want to know, exactly what Black August is. And when we put them on game and we talk, I talk to them and give it to them, right and exact. They seemingly are walking, making those steps toward home. And that's what we're trying to do. It's been our call. We just, me and Brother Bomani are just a muse. You know, but we responded, to that call, and hopefully we can start. We can be that instigating charge for our people to understand that we don't have to look outside of ourselves for anything. We all we got, but we all we need. So and what's better than that? I think that's a level of blacknificence. So the reception has been really good. I think people are anticipating. It's one of the first times that African people, who are centered, have gotten together to say, they're going to use, the digital platforms like a Zoom to have a conference,
Mm-hmm.
put it on breakout classrooms, different things like that. So, people are kind of like, okay, well, how is this going to look? How is it going to feel? And, just like Brother Bo said last time, I believe, or we believe, that for us to get the full brunt of this experience, we cannot allow ourselves to sit in front of the computer for 36 hours. If we do that, we'll fall short, or 38 hours, whatever it is, right? So what we have to do is 72. So what we got to do is we got to make sure that we invest in those Bluetooth speakers. We got to make sure that we get those HDMI cords that we're able to screen mirror and cast to, our bigger televisions, or we're able to project on walls or what have you, so that we can treat this as a true experience. Because when we do that, then we really can, when you guys are sitting down and you're doing, your interviews and you're having your listening party with United Front, if you're doing that from a 65-inch TV, 55-inch TV, 50-inch TV, television, what that's going to do, that's going to give you a better experience. But if we sit and try to, sit in front of, a computer, 17-inch screen for 72 hours, I think that people will miss. They will miss. So, make sure that you invest in your Bluetooth speakers, you invest in, your HDMI cords, make sure you know how to screen mirror and cast to your television. But before you do all that, make sure you head over to www.wdtc1.org, pick up those tickets. They're only $25. They're only $25. But like Brother Knowledge Born Allah said, we have a little special right now, a special on top of the special. If you go over and get your early bird admission, then you also, for an extra $5, you can get the latest Vanguard United Front's album Harry and Shotgun, featuring Doc Mokti and University Avenue. So I don't know about y'all, I got all 10 of the albums, and I'm never let down, I'm never disappointed. One thing I say about United Front is this: you don't get no harder than those group of brothers. But also, with them conveying that manhood and that strength, through the airways, You can listen to it with your children in the car, or you can listen to it with your grandparents in the car, which I've done, and not cringe, every other sentence, every other bar, every other line. They keep it, classy. They keep it, to a level of manhood. And I think that that's something to be appreciated, that sometimes we overlook, because one of the things we do, because of the psychological damage that we've been through over the last 500-600 years, due to the hands of the European, we like to bash each other, call each other out our names and different things like that. And think about this right here. In August 2020 will be the 100th year that the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, hey, do away with the N-word. So if we gonna rock the RBG colors, and we are supposed to be living our best up to the standards of the axioms of Garvey, we got to understand that in 1920, he said, hey, we doing away with the N-word. It's something that we can't use to uplift ourselves. So, we need to go ahead and throw that in the ash can of history and keep it moving. It's nothing better than, calling my brother, my sister African, or brother and sister.
Yeah, I take advantage of this opportunity. You see the website here, www.dtc1.org.
One thing that we also have going on, Brother Knowledge Born, is that we have some surprises coming down the pipe too, that we haven't necessarily put out there, and we're gonna wait until it's time. But I think that, again, those people who are in attendance, which I think will be in the thousands, you will be pleasantly surprised with some of the things we debut, we premiere, at this event. And there'll be tools that we can use as we move forward. A lot of times we don't understand, what things to grab, what things to use, to help us resist, to help us fight, to help us loose this, 800-pound gorilla off our backs, and there'll be some nice tools that we'll get out of these workshops and from this conference, that will help us definitely center our thinking and help us move in the direction we need to go. We're up, day and night and day. Brother Boy and I, we probably have talked more in the last couple of weeks than we probably done, ever. But I mean, it's to make sure that this thing runs smoothly. It's to make sure that it is the vehicle it's supposed to be. Excuse me. Because we don't want to give you some shoo. We want to give you some foolishness for everybody. Like, what in the heck was that? We want to give you something that is high quality. And in the midst of all that, we're learning. We're getting those things we need. We're picking up those gems so that we can get back on the business. Like I said, being a world power. One of the things that me and Brother Bo were talking about is that us as African people, we don't necessarily pay attention to global politics, and maybe we don't even understand it. But right now, or in the next 5 to 10 years, will be the first time in about 100 years that America will actually be challenged economically. And they're going to be rivaled or surpassed economically by China. But we don't ask the question, well, what does that leave us as African people, especially here in America? Because when you think about it, we are the only group of people on earth that are politically constructed. What I mean by that is, we're politically constructed people by the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. If they decide to go to the courthouse on Monday and rip that up, then we can be whisked back into chattel just like that. But sometimes we get wrapped up in all this mystical thinking. We think that but divine order came down from the heavens, and we were just manumission from the plantation, and now we can go drink mint julep. But that's not the case, because I think everybody knows that America does not have enough mineral resources to back the debt it owes China. So just imagine if China asked to collect on that debt. As soon as China does that, that's a declaration of war. How will America respond? They have liquid capital because they have African people. It's about 50 to 60 million of us. So do you then open up a open slave market? I mean, these are the things that we have to prepare for. And because we're not prepared for it, we are at the whim of maniacs, psychopathic maniacs. So we have to be about the business of thinking more than 5 minutes in front of our face, so that we can develop a plan, a blueprint that, again, will be useful for our children and the yet unborn. We have to plan for our progeny. We have to plan, so far down the line, that even if they stop our momentum, they can't stop the momentum of the plan. And, these are the things we have to ask ourselves. We have to stop always trying to bolster power. You don't necessarily always have to, show your hand full go. Sometimes it's best, to wade in the weeds and wait for the right time to spring. So again, we hope that tools are given, or we know that, let me rephrase that. We know that tools will be given. We hope that, the audience, the family comes in and gets these tools so that, they can start implementing them on a daily basis. It becomes how they think, so that, they can move accordingly. They can plan accordingly, and we definitely know that this whole thing is a celebration of our flag, but even that flag is wrapped around or wrapped in resistance. The whole flag is about resistance, because if you don't have, like you said, a standard to go into war with, then what are you fighting for? The only other flag, well, there's two, but the only other flag that I know I love more than the red, black, and green flag is the flag that Jean Bollet flew in the Haitian Revolution. Now, if you don't know what his standard was, I suggest the audience to look him up, unless you want me to give it to him.
Give it to him. Give it to him. You got a captive audience. Give it to him.
Okay. Well, the Jean Bollet flew. His standard was a dead white baby. That was his flag. That was his flag, and that's what he carried into battle every single time he met the French on the battlefield. So the flag's not a plaything. It is totally about what we stand for, what we stand on, and what we're fighting for. The red for the blood we shed. The black is for the people, and the green is for the land we must free. It can't be for the land first, because we won't have it. We got to free it first. As Dr. Khaled, may peace be upon him, would always tell us, we got to free that land. Because they don't make no more of it anyways. They don't make no more of that. So we got to get our own back. And secure the throne, and understand that the world is our home. Africa is just a throne. And once I think that as we move forward, we are already engaged in that reascension process, and we don't necessarily understand that. We don't understand that that no matter how much we try to pretend as if we're not in the re-Africanization process, we are. We haven't given up. We may be on our, for lack of a better term, we're on our ass, but we're not on our knees, and that's the difference. When you're on your knees, you've acquiesced. You've given up everything. You've thrown in the towel. African people haven't done that. We haven't done that. So, we're gonna be all right. I'm sure of it.
That's real. So we're gonna have to reconvene due to these technical difficulties with Chief for another date and time where it's more apropos for his connection. So we're definitely gonna, set this up. We do have Dr. Iya Ajua next Saturday, and also Sutek Amara will be on tomorrow, I believe at 5 p.m. So they're coming in. You know, Dr. Samar Kamaru will be on, and some other people have. So we're just waiting to link those dates together, and you can see the smile on his African face because these are people that I love with a great and deep, sincere, warrior spirit, and to get a chance to dialogue with them and to hear their stories. You hear Chief's story. When you hear Chief's story, you hear Baba Edward Blyden's story, peace be upon him. You hear Baba Kwame Toure's story, peace be upon him. You understand what I'm saying? Like you hear those stories. You hear the other side of Kwame Nkrumah and, what led him and motivating him to, liberate a portion of West Africa. You see what I'm saying? You hear all of these stories. You hear Steve Biko's story. You hear that Pan-African story that's associated and related with this psychology when you hear Chief's story. So imagine these other stories that come along from these other presenters, these world-renowned presenters that are converging of this amazing celebration. So again, before we wrap, let's put this up here and give an opportunity for you to have any closing remarks.
Family, just be prepared. Be prepared for those 72 hours to lock in, and just allow that, that African spirit to shine through. Catch that African Holy Ghost like the first time they called it up in Abydos. It's going to be a great experience. But understand this: we're not proselytizing. This is we are offering, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that will help you be a better African, that will help your children be a better African. And the only thing that inoculates from genocide is culture. Culture is everything we do, but we have to understand that there's a difference between our way and your reason. So if we come in with open minds, hearts, spirits, I think that we'll pick up those things that we need. And hopefully that, the thing that was put on my heart and Brother Bo's heart to help organize. Notice I said help organize. It's not our thing. Help organize will be something that the African family globally will be able to take into perpetuity so that we can, rise, ascend past our greatest heights. So be sure to visit www.etc1.org. Purchase those early bird specials now.
I love the slideshow. I just want to show it one more time. I just want to show this slideshow right here. I love it. I'm telling you, like it invigorates my soul and my spirit. It provides me with a context and a purpose and an action-oriented psychology in regards to African people. Just looking and seeing, My son was like, "Daddy, who's Jonathan Jackson?" And I looked at him and I smiled. I looked at him and I smiled and I grabbed my son by his face. You understand what I'm saying? And I began to tell him the story about Jonathan. And I began to tell him the story about George and Jonathan's response to George.
Yes, sir.
Jonathan asked the question. He said, what would you do if it was your brother? So we're asking the question, what would you do if it was your brother? If it was your mother? If it was your sister? If it was your aunt? If it was your uncle? If it was your children? Well, it is all of them. So in the spirit of Jonathan Jackson, we have an ode and a responsibility to those Jonathans who came before us and these Jonathans who come after us and these Jonathans that are in our midst. Brother Aluis, I appreciate you coming through.
Yes, sir.
And both said you ain't had nothing to do with the slideshow. That's nuts, man. That is nuts. Yeah, but definitely this is a call to action. So this kind of call deserves an overwhelming response. This is not something that is manufactured in the mind of anyone outside of African people. Not done for the benefit of anybody other than African people. This is for us, for us. This is fufu, okay? If you ain't never had no fufu, you slipping. This is fufu right here. This is for us, not for us, by us. Because that's capital. And someone stands to make a capital gain. This is fufu. This is for us, okay? So you get your right hand together. You get your fufu together. You get the dipping. And that's where finger licking good came from. Fufu, not Popeyes. Okay? Let's try Chief out. Maybe it's working right now. Chief.
Yeah, salute, brothers. How y'all doing, man? This is very difficult coming from Freetown right now, bro. I swear.
It's all
Been
good.
listening in, been trying, bro. But what's up? Elios,
we
how
love
you doing,
you.
bro? Long time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's good hearing your voice, man.
So, Chief, if you can still hear us, let's take a little moment and share with us what you can share with us. And, of course, we'll do a part 2.
Yeah, man. So, hey, man, shout out to the organizers of this event. You know, I would say it's a legacy event. This is the kind of thing that we need right now to evoke that spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? To really bring it back alive. You know, like I was saying earlier, you didn't know, but I'm actually a brother that was born in Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? And before I came over here to Africa, man, I was down there in Tampa doing my thing, you know, just organizing down there with the people. And, you know, my spirit called me home, y'all. That's how it is. It was time to go. And, you know, I've been out here putting in a lot of work. Man, just trying to open
So, Chief said he was at Temple University.
No. He's from Philadelphia. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's from Chester. He's from Chester, PA. But then he was living down here in Tampa with us, and that's how I met him.
Oh, Tampa! I thought you said Temple. I was about to say, man, that's Kwame Nkrumah, like 1,000%. You see what I'm saying? Like you start looking at that and where he spent his time and what he was doing and what sparked him in them ancestral steps. So if it wasn't them, it was the Maroons down there, down there in Florida. You see what I'm saying? So it was Maroons in Florida, You know what I mean? And that warrior ancestral spirit right there. I mean, so it's still African. It's good. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he was down here putting it in, man. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was in before he came over to Tampa, he was in St. Pete, putting in work with the Uhuru movement, and came over here and beating the street, and that's how we end up linking up and getting some work in. So like he said, I remember he was gearing up to go, and he was like, "Man, I'm gonna go home." And I thought he was talking to Pennsylvania, and he was like, "Nah, man, home." Brother ain't look back since.
Right.
Powerful brother, definitely a leader. And when he says he's over there building and grinding and putting things together, he's sincerely doing that. And he's an
Gullah.
example of, there's no need to be afraid to go home. You
Right.
make the adjustments if there are some to be made, and you realize that it's family there that is waiting for you, and they're going to welcome you with open arms. So he is that example. If nothing else, he's that example. Like, you can go home, and I mean, shoot, I want to say Chief has been back on the continent almost pushing a decade now. So
Right.
when he decided, to go, he made that decision, and he held firm to it. He held firmly to it. So those of us that are looking for an example of, or wondering how, to get back, reach out to him, and maybe he may have the answers for you, because it's a decision that he made. And every time we do talk, it seems as if he's sincerely happy with it. But Chief is a worker, and I think that's why he's happy on the continent. I think if he would have been went over there, looking for a handout or freebies, excuse me, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
Being that he is about the business of putting in that work, organizing, trying to build a better tomorrow. Hey, the continent works, because no matter where you find Africans on the planet, we got to be about the business of building. We got to be about the business of working. If we looking for some place to kick our feet up, that's this. You're useless. To yourself, your family, and your kind. And your race. So, Chief ain't never been lazy. Like I said, this is collective work, and all Africans, that are part of this are all hands on deck. He's definitely an example of that.
100%. 100%. So between here, as I was stating earlier, between here and the Instagram page, we'll be doing these interviews, these spotlight interviews for these speakers. So we want to definitely get that in. So anybody who's involved and looking to participate or already been confirmed, please get with myself, Aluis, or Bomani to get you scheduled on either platform. So that way we can, get these spotlights done and start, using these proper propaganda tools so people can understand who you are and some of the things they can look forward to. So with this right here, August 1st, we are changing profile pictures to a revolutionary energy colors and 100 years. Hashtag 100 years in the whirlwind. Okay, so August 1st is also African Independence Day. It'll be right here from 4 to 8 here on Do the Knowledge Radio. So it'd be like a precursor. You see what I'm saying? A precursor, like a hurricane before the whirlwind. You understand what I'm saying? Some tremors before the earthquake. You know what I mean? A good folks say, but before the dreadful day coming of the Lord. Okay, so we're gonna be Elijah in this. You see what I'm saying? In this whirlwind right here, that's coming. That is this 3-day celebration. You see what I'm saying? And we coming with Harriet shotguns. Okay, we ain't playing over here. We ain't coming with slingshots. We coming with Harriet shotguns. So definitely.
Brother Knowledge Born. Also, we wanted people to know every year, myself and Brother Bo, we put together a Black August Challenge. That ain't changed. The Black August Challenge,
yeah.
August 1st. We got to get 100 miles.
Yeah.
We got to get 100 miles in. We don't care if you're running. We don't care if you're walking. We don't care if you're biking. We don't care if you're swimming, you're hiking, you're skiing. You have to cover 100 miles in the month of August. That's our challenge. That's what we do every year, and that's us, trying to move out of our comfort zone so we can feel just a little bit of pain to commune better, with our POWs, those brothers and sisters who are, really, really behind enemy lines, in the new slave ships and plantations they call prisons.
That's 4 miles a day.
However you got to get it.
It's a lot. 4 miles a day. And I guess they're being light because normally they got some other stuff, 7,000 push-ups and 8,000 burpees, and they be getting busy. They ain't playing. So if it's we got 100 miles of running, let's get it. Let's get it.
Need to make sure that this August is filled to the brim with just commemorating, celebrating, paying homage to, those Africans who come before and who have made the decision, to face, the enemy on the battlefield, eye to eye, toe to toe, smelled his breath and stepped on his toes, and maybe fought to the last man and the last breath. We gotta honor the killers. There's healing in the killing and medicine in the murder. So a lot of times, we get a little scared. We get a little shaky. When brothers stand up. We want to make excuses for that African. African was broken and all those kind of things. Nah, the African was in the right frame of mind. So
right. The only mind that exists there is that African mind right there. That African insurrection state.
That's right.
African insurrection state of mind. That AIM mind right there. Okay? AIM.
That
We're gonna wrap this. Here, we're gonna wrap this up. Since Bo he wanted to take credit for the slideshow, he gonna have to put one of them joints in the background. Maybe I hate you or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe BPSA or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? Some Dr. Khaled in the background. Something, some Bob Baruti in the background. Some Del Jones in the background. Some Robert Steve Coakley Sr. in the background. Some Dr. Remember I Need in the background. Something, you know what I'm saying? A little something. He want to take credit. He just say, I'm taking credit, right? He's like, I did that right there. You know what I'm saying? Some Imam Jamil Alameen in the background. Something. All right, yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up. I appreciate you, and we're gonna be on the lookout. If you have not, please subscribe here and subscribe to the IG channel so you can be in tune with what's going on and you won't miss one of these spotlight interviews that we got going on. And if we could get a bunch of the questions together, for some of the people or whatever the case may be, we could do a show strictly for that. So some of the things that you've been getting, we could do something on that, solely. We could get, some of the people together and kind of discuss that, because some people may not know what Black August is. So maybe we got to do a Black August show as a precursor, to kind of lean on that, get some people together. You see what I'm saying? They're like, well, or what's a homeschool, or what, some of the subject matter with some of the people, some of the presenters going to present, kind of give like a little taste, to let them know, like, okay, this is what's coming. In case we don't get all of the interviews or whatever the case may be, we can still, have something to where people are walking away with, some good takeaways from this experience.
Yes, sir.
Peace to the Vanguard. All right, African people, make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe, and share this right here. This is the first of many. So, anybody that you share this with, ask them to subscribe, because we're going to have more of these. We have over 30 people, so we're going to have, as many opportunities as possible, and continue to share this, and also continue to promote the website, promote the early bird ticket opportunity, promote the Supreme African package that you got for $5 more. You understand what I'm saying? So let's maximize this and have this, total Reformation African resurgence experience right here. So it's there. All of the tools are there. All of the information will be there. Check. You see this website. I think I'm gonna just have the website every once in a while in the background, just so I can see the slideshow and just be reminded. You see what I'm saying? Just be reoriented about what it really takes and what it costs and who put it on the line, how and when. So we don't get swept up into these currents of this imagery that we see of this false narrative that African men don't protect African women or children and all this other stuff. You see what I'm saying? That there's some kind of gender war and all this kind of stuff that's there. You see what I'm saying? With this improper propaganda that's being pushed. So let's just look at this imagery. Look at these years, 40 or more years further behind enemy lines. You got warrior sisters, to kill this notion that, we don't go into battle together. You see, all these things further than the truth. You see what I'm saying? The Haitian Revolution wouldn't happen without our sisters and without our children. I think we need to be reminded of who we are truly. African men, women, and children, we fought, all of them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking for children guerrillas, you better leave outside of America. You will find them. Go to South America, you will find them. You understand what I'm saying? You will find wherever people are, and it's time to rebel, they rebel as a people, not as a person. Don't understand that. And when we're looking in the annals of history, of African history, of our story, we see that. That's a resounding theme. I think we need to be reminded. Everybody's not playing dress up out here. Many of us are getting down. So this is our legacy, as it's written here. A legacy of resistance. Persistent and consistent resistance. Get out of here. Abi Foday Ajamu, Black Power.
Peace, Black Power, BB Foday.